This video has been brought to you by GoFiber. Enter your pictures and win a 1-year supply of GoFiber. It's easy to enter. Order a free sample, take a clear before and after pictures and send them to selfie@gofiber.com. Hey, welcome back guys, and thanks for being patient with me finally doing this 4th month update on oral finasteride. And I really decided to make it pretty extensive so you can get the most value out of it and also reward you for your waiting that way. For all of you guys who are new, I've been taking 0.5 to 0.6 milligrams of oral finasteride every day for the last 4 months, maybe 4 to 5 times over the last 4 months. I skipped a day because I forgot to take it. Probably you know it as well. You get busy with your day and you forget about your daily dose. So personally, I've been using Proscar, which is a 5 milligram version of finasteride, and I've been turning 1 Proscar tablet into powder each week and getting a reduced dose of 0.6 milligram finasteride that way. This video will consist of 5 main points with the exact timestamps so you can easily switch between the ones that interest you the most. Point number 1 is going to be hair shedding and hair density improvements before and after 4 months on oral finasteride. The point number 2, positive side effects. Point number 3, negative side effects. The point number 4, things that didn't change or stay the same basically. And the point number 5 is going to be the most extensive one, where I'm going to be showing you my blood results before and after. I did a male hormone test, and I'm going to be sharing with you how using a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor like finasteride, dutasteride, or topical finasteride may or may not impact your hormones, sexual function, and libido, and what are the things that you should pay attention to and how to interpret the values you get from such test the right way. Alright guys, so let's start with the point number 1. Visually, you may see a difference, but in my opinion, it is only a subtle one. Obviously, the central region here appears more dense now because it's the area where I had my second hair transplant. And on the before photo, it was only about to start growing, while now it's been already like 8 months post-op. Okay, so, but if we only observe the vertex and mid-scalp areas, there is a slight visual improvement. And also when I style my hair, it feels more firm in the vertex and mid-scalp area. Okay, so I live with that hair, I wake up with that hair in the morning. I can already tell that there is a nice difference like 4 months ago and now, and especially 10 months ago before I even started with any type of finasteride, topical or oral. So actually I was on topical finasteride 6 months and oral finasteride 4 months. So overall, I'm actually on finasteride for 10 months. Now, as far as hair shedding, I already got reduced shedding after getting on topical finasteride. I don't think that oral finasteride kind of helped me reduce shedding even further or better than topical finasteride was able to do. Alright, let's come to the point number 2, positive side effects. And yes, surprisingly, you can also get positive side effects from finasteride. Of course, I'm not promoting the use of this drug. I'm just telling how things are, because finasteride is known to improve urinary symptoms in men with benign prostatic hyperplasia, and I can kind of confirm that as well because I did this small test, and one night I drank more liquid than usual before bed, and I didn't wake up like at 6 a.m. to go to pee as I normally had to, but I woke up at like 8:30 or so without feeling too much pressure on my urinary bladder whatsoever. Okay, so if you are, for example, experiencing any subtle to moderate signs of frequent urinating, this can actually help you. Okay, just saying how it is. During the first couple weeks, I also felt like more sexually charged, especially within first 1-2 hours after taking the finasteride in the tablet form. But with the time, this sensation was less and less. Okay, now I don't even register it because I reached a steady state of DHT suppression in my plasma, and this steady state results in having naturally like higher total testosterone levels as a result of finasteride preventing the DHT conversion from testosterone, making the T levels go slightly up. And it has been shown also in studies. Okay, by how much it increased in my case, I'm going to show you in the point number 5 of this video, where I'm going to share and compare the blood work that I did. Alright guys, here's the point number 3, negative side effects, or things that got slightly worse over the last 4 months since I started with oral finasteride. And I'm pretty observant, so I was really paying close attention to how my body is feeling, especially during the first couple weeks. And there's only one thing like that I observed, which could be classified as a negative side effect, and many of you probably have also experienced it. It was lower ejaculate amount, okay? And since I'm 28, I've been ejaculating like since I'm 15 probably, or even less, 15. So I can tell how much I ejaculate on average, and I can tell if it's more or less, or if it's the same right now while I'm on finasteride, and I can tell you it's a little bit less. This could also, by the way, go hand in hand with sperm count, because if you are ejaculating less, logically you will have less sperm in the whole ejaculate, okay? But this is something that I would like to have tested. Probably I'm going to have it tested by 1 year mark on being on finasteride, okay? And then I'm going to check and compare it, the sperm count, to the reference values, to the healthy ranges for having a good sperm count as a 28 or 30-year-old male, and compare whether I'm above or below or within range. If you plan on getting on finasteride and you're worried, you can do this test also prior to starting with finasteride, but I don't think it's necessary. I think I'm going to do it after 1 year mark, but not right now. Even if it is the case, I'm not like freaking out at all, because first I was aware of that prior to starting with finasteride, and also it has been shown in studies that things like sperm motility and sperm morphology even have been shown to be affected to an extent by using finasteride. However, after discontinuation of finasteride, things always went back to normal as far as sperm morphology and sperm motility. Okay, there's some studies I'm going to link in the description below for all you guys who are concerned with the side effects of finasteride on your sperm, so you can give it a read, or I can make a separate video on it another time. Okay, so to conclude that, the only thing which got slightly worse was the ejaculate amount, but it also depends on how frequently do you ejaculate by masturbating or having sex, and also how turned on you are during sex, because clearly the more your partner turns you on during sex, the more enormous your happy ending ends up being, okay? At least in my case. Alright guys, here's the point number 4 with things that would also be classified normally as side effects of finasteride that some of you would have expected to happen, but they didn't in my case. I experienced no changes in my ability to get an erection or erection strength, no changes in strength of my sexual arousal, and also no changes in like semen consistency, because I also heard and talked to some of you guys who told me that you got liquidy sperm from finasteride. I think I might have experienced that slightly in the beginning, but it was very, very short term, so I didn't even register it, and then at the end I just had normal sperm. So besides having like a lower amount of ejaculate, I haven't noticed any other like negative side effects as far as semen consistency, okay? Talking about the gym and working out, my strength is more or less the same as it used to be. I haven't been able to notice any positive or negative changes. As far as my body fat percentage, fat storing or water retention, I haven't noticed any negative side effects either. Pretty much the same as before. Actually many things stayed the same since I'm on finasteride. Alright guys, so before I went on finasteride, I felt great. I had great sex drive, great libido, morning wood on a regular basis, so I decided to do a male hormone test just to see how my hormones look like on paper when I have no issues with erection or libido whatsoever. And I wanted to have these values for reference in case something ever changes later for better or worse. So I decided to check whether not only my testosterone and estrogen levels are within a healthy range, but also whether they both are within balance between each other. Because not only good testosterone levels, but also well-balanced estrogen levels have been shown to contribute to the ability to get and sustain erections in men. Having sky-high testosterone levels and ground zero estrogen levels isn't going to be good for your erections and libido either, but more about it in another video maybe. Alright guys, so here are my total testosterone levels before starting with oral finasteride. It says 29.5 nanomole per liter, which can be converted to the more known metrics in nanograms per deciliter, equaling to 850 nanograms per deciliter. This is already an improvement, by the way, compared to March 2019 when I got my first male hormone test. In this test I got 757 nanograms nanograms per deciliter for total testosterone. Now I'm pretty happy with this result. I think it's a good result for a guy in his 20s, in his late 20s actually, who is not using any PEDs whatsoever. I knew that my total testosterone will go up by taking finasteride, as it has been shown in studies, but I did not know like by how much. So I did this at-home testing again after like 3.5 months, and the result was pretty much what I was expecting. And as you can see here, it was 32.1 nanomole per liter. After conversion to nanograms per deciliter, it is 925, which is almost 10% increase in 3.5 months. Now, that doesn't mean that my free and my bioavailable testosterone increased as well. To be 100% sure, you needed to measure free testosterone, which is about 1 to 2% of your total testosterone, and also your bioavailable testosterone, which is the free testosterone plus about 50% of total testosterone, which is loosely bound to a protein called albumin. The rest of your total testosterone, which is about 40 to 50%, usually is bound to SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, and it's being classified as unavailable for dissociation into target tissues for action via classical androgen receptor mechanism, just in case you wanted to know that. Although clinical relevance of total testosterone versus compared to free testosterone is still like quite controversial, I think it's great to have both tested. Unfortunately, Let's Get Checked didn't provide the values for bioavailable or free testosterone levels, just the total testosterone levels. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I think it's important to track your total testosterone levels long term, just for the reference, so you know where you stand right now, while you feel great, while everything's working fine, while the libido is working. And so you can use this testosterone value as a reference later once something goes worse or maybe even improves, okay? It's good to know where you stand. Now, it's also important to note that free testosterone results tend to be pretty unreliable unless you use LCMS, a liquid chromatography mass spectrometry technology, which is able to achieve higher sensitivity and measurement precision in human serum and plasma, even by children and women with naturally low testosterone levels under like 10 nanograms per deciliter. And this LCMS has been shown to be pretty reliable even by measuring such small digits. Alright guys, now let's come to the second value from my hormone test, which is the SHBG. What SHBG does, it transports androgens and estrogens throughout your body while keeping them inactive. That's why also testosterone bound to SHBG is being classified as unavailable. Now, if we look at my SHBG levels before starting to oral finasteride and right now, I feel like my bioavailable testosterone might have gone up actually, or at least stayed the same, because if we look at SHBG here before, they went down almost 10% as a result of taking finasteride, which potentially suggests that there could be now more free or at least more bioavailable testosterone in my serum, because my estradiol levels went 40% down as well. This just shows that the testosterone spike from finasteride didn't aromatize, and it also didn't result in SHBG increase either. So logically, I should have either more free testosterone than before or more albumin-bound testosterone, or both, okay, which is also great. So that's how I interpret my SHBG levels. If you're doing a male hormone test, it's important to also test your estrogen levels, because you want to know what is your ideal testosterone to estrogen ratio. So the third parameter measured in my male hormone test next to total testosterone and SHBG was estrogen, namely estradiol. And you have two types of estrogens in your body, estradiol and estrone. However, estradiol is 10 times more potent estrogen compared to estrone. So that's why most of the lab tests tend to provide estradiol. Before I started finasteride, my E2 levels were 98 picomole per liter, and after taking finasteride, they went down 30%, which is pretty significant, but it's still close to the middle of the reference range, okay? And I actually took some time and researched what would be like a reference range for healthy estradiol levels in men, and I found these two clinical papers suggesting a lower end of 1 nanograms per deciliter and 5 to 5.5 nanograms per deciliter estradiol for the upper end. Also, when I had my estradiol tested last year in a lab in Austria, they had a range of 2.7 to 5.2 nanograms per deciliter. Now, most men who experience any type of sexual side effects on finasteride, like erectile dysfunction or libido issues, have usually mismanaged testosterone and estradiol levels. Period. Okay, either they have like very high estradiol levels and low testosterone levels, or both low E2 and low T levels in general, which isn't good either. And I remember having high estradiol and high testosterone levels like 1.5 years ago, and I felt great too. Like my libido and erections were high as well. So contrary to the popular belief, it may not only be like high estrogen levels that are responsible for erectile dysfunction or libido issues, but better said, mismanaged estrogen and testosterone levels. Too much of estradiol relative to testosterone levels suppresses testosterone receptors in target tissues and eventually leads to feminizing effects in men, such as breast enlargement, excessive fat storing, or water retention. Obviously, very low estradiol levels are not good either, and you can see it on many bodybuilders, for example, who get on a cycle and overdo it with aromatase inhibitors because they want to have like high T and low aromatization, and then end up with sky-high testosterone and low estrogen levels, resulting in low or no erection whatsoever. So the ideal scenario would be probably having total testosterone levels which are rather high on the higher end of the therapeutic reference range, and estradiol levels which are in the middle to mid-high range, okay? The last number that you can find in this test from Let's Get Checked is free androgen index, which is just a unitless number, which is created by dividing total testosterone by SHBG levels and then multiplying them by a constant 100. Free androgen index can tell you whether you have healthy or abnormal androgen levels in your body. Well, my free androgen index got up 20% while I was on finasteride for 3.5 months, which is another indication of potentially having higher free testosterone and or higher bioavailable testosterone as well. Logically, free androgen index becomes higher the higher your total testosterone is and the lower your SHBG levels are. Well, to sum it up, I'm pretty happy with how these results from my male hormone test turned out, especially with my total testosterone levels being in the upper range. My estrogen and SHBG levels got lower after me being on finasteride, and this is great. I feel great on the inside as well with these values, so that's definitely all right. I will, of course, keep monitoring that. I may add an extra sperm analysis test, as I already mentioned, just to monitor my fertility as well. Probably gonna do it after 1 year of me being on oral finasteride, and I'm also gonna do another such male hormone test probably in 8 months from now. This was again the male hormone plus test, which included the total testosterone levels, SHBG levels, and estradiol and free androgen index. So for all you guys who want to monitor your hormonal health before and during your finasteride treatment, you can check out the link in my description below where you can test this male hormone plus test for yourself and see whether your total testosterone, SHBG, and estradiol values are all right. And then if you ever decide to get on finasteride, dutasteride, or even topical finasteride and topical dutasteride, you can always use these values as a reference because they will stay forever in your Let's Get Checked dashboard, or you can do a screenshot and save them in your computer as I did. So if this is something for you, then make sure you check out the link in the description below. And so I don't forget, there is a special discount for you, 20% off if you decide to try this male hormone test for yourself. They basically send you a home testing kit to your home, and from there on it's pretty simple. After you have received their package with your test and unique code inside the box, you will activate it, and in the morning you collect a tiny sample by pricking your finger, safely place the sample back inside the box, return it back to their lab, and receive results online within 3 to 5 days. So far they have covered US, Canada, UK, and almost the whole Europe. At the end of this video, I'd like to thank you so much for watching, and as always, for all you guys who are interested in a hair transplant and seriously considering it in 2020, you are invited to sign up for a one-on-one meeting with me. I'm not a hair transplant doctor. I don't work for any hair transplant clinic in particular, but I specialize in assisting you throughout your hair transplant research more extensively than anyone I know. And here's how it goes. Number one, I review your hair situation and explain what would or would not be possible with your first or next hair transplant. Number two, I provide you with reliable hair transplant doctor recommendations either in your region or worldwide. Number three, I review the clinic that you are already researching or communicating with. I mention the pros and cons and let you know my opinion on them. And lastly, number four, I provide you with further assistance after our consultation is over per email, just to make sure you are on the right track, you're researching, or you are already in touch with the right doctor, better said. All right, that was it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Take care.